everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome. Glad to see you here this morning. Everyone doing okay? Wonderful. Today, backed by popular demand, if all of you were here on the last presentation, Jose Pereira is here with us. His beautiful wife, Mervis Ruiz, is also with us today. She's running the show. Jose has a great message for us. He's a former CEO of CITGO, and just a while back, he was also a captive in Venezuela, held captive for up to upwards of 5 years in that country, not here at home, and enduring some very challenging situations. But he's here with us, and we're happy for it. He's going to share the wisdom, things he learned while captive, and he's going to also share the spirit he found or rediscovered while he was there in that captivity. And he's going to share the tools that he uses to unleash the spirit, hope, perseverance, faith, and leadership. And he shares that knowledge with us, other corporate executives, leadership committees, to help people see that we're all captive to something, and the Spirit will keep you strong and get you through it. From captivity to freedom, Jose, welcome back.
Thank you. Well, I see some faces that was last time, some are new. So thank you, Brenda, for the introduction. Yeah, my situation happened in 2017, but going back a little bit, back and forward, because I did a long career in the oil and gas. And I'm Venezuelan born, by the way. So I came here to the US in the 2012 as a assignee of the Venezuelan oil company, that is PDVSA, that is the owner of CITGO Petroleum. Many people doesn't know, but CITGO Petroleum is a Venezuelan-owned company. Mm-hmm. And after several years, I became the CEO of the company in 2017. And at that moment, the situation, everybody knows that Venezuela having a lot of issues. So this is years happening. So unfortunately, during that time frame, the situation between the US and Venezuela began to go very bad. Still is happening. And it was an administration, Donald Trump. And Donald Trump really was working hard to throw up these guys that were there. And they were begin to a lot of things and begin to happen a lot of sanctions to the country. And in the middle of that debate, I was here in CITGO. So something that really doesn't belong, it didn't have nothing to do with me because I was not a politician, I was an oil and gas executive. But the thing was happening. So I remember I told my wife that I really wanted to get retired. I already by the time had 35 years in the company. And I decided to get retired. So I flew to Caracas and I went to talk with my boss and said, hey, my friend, I'm done. I'm gonna get retired. I was planning to begin my new career as a consultant. And she began to run a bakery in where we live in Cyprus. So we had a French bakery, a franchise, and we were planning, a new life. So when that happened in October 2017, so when I was flying back here to the US, I remember it was a Saturday. I received a phone call, and then somebody from the PR department of the company, they told me, hey, Mr. Pereira, there's going to be a closing of a summit that we're doing here in Houston, and you have to attend because I was the CEO of the company. Okay, that was a big summit that the company always runs every year because it was an environment, health, and safety summit, big deal in the oil and gas. And I went to the closing. So every time we did a closing, we brought a speaker, like today I'm here. And they told me that the speaker was going to be a guy called Captain Phillips. I don't know if you recall the movie. The real Captain Phillips. Wow. So the real Captain Phillips, he lives in New England. So this guy, he had become an international speaker. And he was talking about a speech called How to Navigate the Turbulent Waters, because that was his case. So that guy does that great speech about how you can overcome adversities and unleash your unbreakable spirit. And it touched me so much. And I remember that he seated with me and my wife, and I told the guy, man, my friend, what a journey. And I always remember that he said to me that everybody has inside that inner force that comes from God, but you have to unleash it. And that words keep in my mind, 1 month after it happened to me. So I was with her in a movie here in the Highway 6. There was a studio movie grill. I believe it was closed, but it was open at the time. And that was the world premiere of Superman. I'm a big fan of Superman, Everybody loves DC and Marvel, So I was in that world premiere of Superman with her. And I was having some food, some wine, and I was with my suit, and I had my phone here, and the phone began to ring. And it began to ring and ring and ring. I had it in silent, but it was, the bus. And I said to my wife, I have to take the call. Somebody's insisting on calling me. When I see the call was my boss. Hey, Jose, you have to come tomorrow here to Caracas. Why? Well, there's going to be a big meeting, because by that time there was 6 months with all these things going on with the sanction and all this stuff. And they wanted we were running a refinery, revamping a refinery in Aruba Island. So he wanted me to go there to present the project and how we will complete it in the frame of all these things that was going on. Well, I was ready to get retired, so I wasn't why I had to go, I'm gone. But, you're a corporate guy, so I told my wife, well, mommy, I'm gonna go, and tomorrow I'm gonna be here. Tomorrow never happened, because I went to the business trip. I did a presentation. We were in the big room, meeting room that is in the PDVSA building, almost 1,000 people. And I did my presentation. And that was a standing ovation that we were doing great. And I was thinking, wow, what a way to close your life, all your life, wonderful career, and now standing ovation, getting retired, I'm gone, the plane waited me in the airport. and well, that didn't happen. That didn't happen because that was an ambush. This guy came into the front door, like 20 guards. These are the guards. You can see their faces here that I put it in my book. I'm going to talk later on. So there is the military counterintelligence police of that country. And we were accused to be American spies, have committed treason to the country, and that we did corruption and embezzlement, and a lot of charges, and we saw, what the heck is this? So we didn't know that inadvertently we were caught in the middle of the political situation going through the US and Venezuela. Mm-hmm. So we became the political pawns of the situation. Mm-hmm. And I flew with my top 5 executive, my 5 vice presidents. So we were 6. That's why we became the CITGO 6. So that's the name the press put us to. We became the CITGO 6. So maybe you have recalled that it hit the press. So the press decided to call us the CITGO 6. So today what I'm going to talk is that how you can unleash that unbreakable spirit, because that's what we did. That's what we did. We really discovered that any situation in your life, no matter what, you always have that spirit inside you. And this is something that today I talk in any audience, because who doesn't have a problem in your life? Everybody has a problem. Can be you, can be your family, can be your kid, can be any problem. And sometimes you feel overwhelmed. You feel that that you're not gonna make it. And believe me, you will do it. We went through a lot of situations there, and we made it. And we made it, and we're here. So this is what I wanted to talk today with you. So give me that. So my presentation is, I call it the 4 tools to unleash your unbreakable spirit. I'm not gonna do my introduction because I already did it, but for me, the tools, I compiled it in 4 words. RDEAL, RDEAL. Remember ordeal? RDEAL. RDEAL. Because the R stands for resilience, the DE stands for determination, the A stands for adaptability, and the I stands for leadership. These are the 4 things that really, really, if you use it in any circumstance, anything in your life, you're gonna make it. The first thing for me is resilience. Everybody talks about resilience. By the way, for me, it's kind of funny because when I came back, I always say that I came back like in a time machine. Really, really, really was coming like in time machine because I had 5 years lost in translation in a dungeon. And one day they opened the door and they released us and we landed here in San Antonio in a military base. We stayed there in a decompression program. I don't know if you heard some guy that was released 3 days ago from Russia.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, these guys are part of our campaign. We have a campaign called Bring Our Family Home campaign. Paul Whelan is part of them. By the way, I talked with her sister Elizabeth. She did a wonderful campaign for him. And the other guy, Evan Gershovic, he's a journalist of Wall Street Journal. I did yesterday an interview with them. Because we are part of that community today, okay? Because this is something that really, really connects you. We have a community, the hosted community. It's kind of a bizarre community, but we're part of it. Yeah, because you know, at some point I say that you become part of a family you never ask, but they become your family. Because all the people that have gone through this situation, that today there are many countries doing this, like Russia. You see people captive in Iran. September came back 5 guys from Iran. Afghanistan, people in Afghanistan. Last year, Mark Fogel came from Afghanistan.
Syria.
Huh?
Syria.
Syria. There is a journalist from Houston, Austin Tice. I don't know if he has 12 years in Syria. China, there is a guy called Mark Sweden that he's in China, has more than 11 years. There is a guy that he died in Syria like 3 months ago, Kamal Kalmayas. So there is a very, very serious situation, that what is called the hostage diplomacy, and unfortunately many people are not aware of it. This is something that you think that will never happen to you. I never thought this could happen to me, but it happened. So what happened when you go a situation like this? What happened when you're going in any adversity in your life? How you handle it? So resilience is something very important. That resilience, because resilience is finding strength in adversity. When any situation that you're going in your life, any adverse situation in your life, what really makes you get stronger is being resilient. So, and you say, how you can I do it? There are several things. One of the things that you have to really do is get focused in the situation. When we went through our situation, the first thing, can you imagine, picture this, we were in that meeting, we saw the guards coming and they asked for us, and then a few minutes ago, I was in handcuffs going to the dungeon. So few minutes before, I was a hero in a standing ovation. Few minutes after, I was the worst of the villain going to a dungeon. That's why my book, the name is From Hero to Villain. Because I decided to put that name because that was our story. Because we didn't believe it, that could be happening to us. And at that moment, you say, this is not happening, this is a mistake, there is something wrong. Because that's what happens when you're going through a situation. You don't believe it, you don't accept it. And the time you decide to stay stuck there, not accepting the situation, is going to be your choice. So you decide, if you say, okay, this is my situation, and I'm gonna get focused in resolving the situation. So during that first time I was heading to the dungeon, we stayed around 12 hours. From that moment they put the handcuff that we get to the dungeon. By the way, the dungeon, what you see here is the dungeon. The dungeon is called the helicoide. It's a very, it's like a 3 basement down place. They have all the political prisoners of Venezuela there. There are more than 400 people there. And yet, in the situation that's going on in Venezuela, this week, around 1,000 people were captured. 1,000 more. I cannot imagine that. One of my friends, that he was released like 3 months ago, he was captured yesterday. Again, they recaptured him because he's a politician. So, so now you begin to say, this is not happening to me, and at some point you say, okay, I have to accept this is my situation. And I was thinking in what Captain Phillips told to me about that unleashing the unbreakable spirit, and I said, okay, Jose, you have to work on that. So we were 6 guys, and when we arrived to the dungeon, we were separated. I saw this guy 1 year after. 1 year after I saw these guys. So the first year I was alone, confined. I saw her, she came like 3 months after, rescue, visit me like 3 hours. I saw her 10 months after. So literally the first year I was disappeared. The lights 24/7. I didn't have a watch. I didn't have a TV. I didn't have nothing. Huh?
Excuse me, the lights were on 24/7?
24/7, yes. And I was not allowed to turn them off. So all day long, and with cameras. Because what this guy tried to do was to break you, because they were having this issue with the US. They wanted to get relief in the sanctions, and they were asking to get us release if they got relief on the sanctions. That was the guy were asking.
Leverage.
So but a big leverage. Because when she came to visit to me, and I knew what these guys were asking for us was a big ransom, you know. And you said, I began to say, I will never go, because I was accused to be a spy. A spy in a communist regime. Can you imagine how long you can stay there? So I began to think they would stay there forever. So when I received her visit, she tells me that the US government was on board, and they were fighting, and you know, comes something that always is important in any adverse situation, that is called hope. I begin to have hope. So when she flew back, I begin to have hope. So I now having hope that I'm gonna sometime come back. And I begin to think, because it was 1 year. In 1 year you think a lot. I begin to think about, I begin to revisit my life. I begin to think a lot of things. And I begin to switch my mind to what I call the positive mindset. Because this is something important in any situation in life. Begin to see the things in a positive way. Even if you're in dark moment, think that always will be the light after the tunnel. And the only way to do it is believing in God. Having the faith and believing that your family is supporting you. So I begin to really work hard on that. I said, Jose, you have to make it. You have your family that's waiting outside there. I have 38 years with her. I have my kids grown up, but I was really thinking that I needed to come back. So that made you change your mindset. So now I'm more focused in the situation, and I begin to be positive. I thought that I will gonna make. So that made me change the way I thought of things. And that's why you, in any situation adverse, if you stay focused and stay positive, you bounce back. That's what makes you be resilient. So having emotional intelligence, I really begin to, the first year I was alone, but after 1 year, because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have no clue what was going on. After 1 year, no, maybe 10 months, they opened the door and said, they were calling me the CITGO 6 at that moment. CITGO 6, come here. They never called by my name. We were the CITGO 6. CITGO 6, come here. And they told me, you're gonna have a call. So when I take the phone, it was her calling me. And then she told me that because by that moment, the US ambassador was recalled. So there was no US ambassador. And so the situation was even worse. So what they did is they began to until now, there's no ambassador in Venezuela. So they began to triangulate with the UN. So the UN commission was going to fly to Caracas. So I was aware about that. It took like 2 months. Like 2 months after, they reopened the door, and I see two guys coming. That was UN guys. It was a French lady and a Spanish guy. And they interviewed me, and we were in a very bad shape. I have lost 100 pounds. I have gone through pneumonia, bronchitis, scabies. So she had to send me ivermectin because all my body was with scabies. Yeah. Because I was sleeping in a mattress stained with blood. I don't know who was there, in the floor. So now, after that visit of the UN, the pressure was so high that they decided to put us together. So 1 year after, one day they opened the door and they say, take your belongings, you're gonna go to other place. And they put me in another place, and when I go there, the first thing I see the other guys after 1 year. All of us were in very bad shape. I can tell you, I saw this guy, all there were like skeletons. We were bald, they took all our head, we were literally like skeletons. And, but we were together. So now, and something interesting is that we were not friends. People always ask me, but we were not friends. So these 5 guys, I only knew one of them. The other 4 guys was the first time I saw them. We were colleagues. They went with me because they had something to do with the revamping of the refinery. Some of them were working in Aruba. There was a guy working in Corpus Christi and a guy working in Lake Charles. First time I saw them. So when we get together, we hug ourselves, but we have something in common that we always, all of us have successful careers, and we said, okay, we have to put a plan together. And what we did, we created something that we call the survivor plan. So we created a survivor plan, and we discovered that we had a lot of commonalities. Well, that was God, because the 6 of us, more than 30 years married, each of us. 31, 32, 33. Can you imagine 6 guys randomly putting in a place and everybody has more than 30 years married? Statistically, that doesn't happen. It was God. God put us together, and now we know that all of us have more than 30 years married. We have wonderful families and wonderful kids. And that created a strong bond. When we created that bond, we began to work really hard, and we stick to the plan during the next 4 years. We did the plan during the next 4 years, and that's why I can say that I walk the walk and talk the talk. That's why I put this here. So the resilience, seeking the support and the connection, that's what we did. We created that bond. And the pressure with the government, with the U.S. government, that was really doing a great pressure. But even they assigned a person, I don't know if you recall, Elliot Abrams. He was designated a special envoy for Venezuela. So my wife was meeting with him, and she went like 2 times to meet with Trump and Pence and Pompeo every month. So they were really working very hard. And this guy put us together, and Venezuela was going in a very bad situation because 1 year passed during the sanctions, so there was no food, there was no medicine in the country. And they said, okay, if you want to feed them, you have to bring their food. So my family had to bring our food. So what they did is that my eldest son, he was working in the Aruba project. He resigned, he moved to Colombia, and he began to provide me the food for the next 4 years. So my son stayed 4 years sending me every week food. So they found somebody that today is a friend, that he began to receive the food in Venezuela. His wife cooked me, and they provide me the food 3 days, every 2 days. But not was only the food, because the food gave me the hope that my family was really supporting me. But I began to do something else. December 30, 2018, 1 year after, I received a visit of an aunt that she passed, by the way. And a surprising visit at the year end. And when I knew that she was coming, I took the risk. I wrote a letter and I smuggled in the belongings that I was giving to her, and that was my first letter I wrote. And like 2 days after, when I received the food, she wrote me back, and then we began to write a letter, and we stayed doing during 3 years. So we compiled like 1,000 letters. That part of them are part of what today is my book. So that book is based on those letters. So we stayed every 2-3 days writing back and forward. We created a secret code because we didn't know if the letters were gonna be fine. So she began to tell me what was going on. So I knew there was something going on. They decided to go big to the press. So all the press began to talk about our case, because one of the things that happened with this hostage situation is that the press, unfortunately, only pick the case when something is happening. For example, I received a call yesterday for a guy from Wall Street Journal because the guy that was released in Russia. And I was talking with the guy. I said, okay, it's great that you called me. But you're calling only because this guy was released. When this situation goes on, nothing's happening. And the people think it's a happy ending. It's not a happy ending. I was telling you yesterday to the guy that when you come back, it's a new beginning. It's a happy ending because you're back. It's a miracle that you're back. We came back through a prisoner swap. We came back through a prisoner swap of the two nephews of Maduro, the president of the regime that is in Venezuela. But you come back and then you find a world that you don't recognize because you're coming like in a time machine. And in my case, I came through the post-pandemic world. Everybody knows that after the pandemic, the thing changed. Can you imagine how was the shock for me that I didn't recognize what was going on with the people? What happened in this? I told her, what happened here? I began to see all the stuff going on in the world. I was in shock because for me, it was like, what's happening here? So really, really, for me at the beginning, it was difficult to understand. And learning from your failures, because you for me, it was like a revisiting of my life. And going back to your life and saying, why you did this? Why you did this? Why you went through this situation? You begin to really revisit your life. I thought that I saw myself like in the Christmas Carol, when the spirit of the I literally was living that. I was alone. I had a lot of time to think. So going back and revisiting your life, sometimes it's good to go and revisit the things you had done in the past and learn from the failures. I put this quote of Steve Jobs because I love Steve Jobs. This guy for me is a great visionary. So the only way that you can do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it, keep looking at it, don't settle. Because this is something key, find your purpose. In life, you need to find your purpose. And we discovered that our purpose was going back to my family. I had the opportunity after some time when they begin to relax the situation, they put us together, they begin to allow us food. I was smuggling letter with her. I began to receive books. I had a guy that was in the cell beside me because I was with military prisoners. Was a top general of Venezuela, a 3-star general. Was my neighbor. So this guy, we became friends. You see the guys every day because this is another thing. We were all there in an ordeal. We were people. We were human beings. There was no politician, no executive, no nothing. People in the same ordeal. So this guy, because he was a top military, he was allowed to have books. So his family was always bringing him books. And there is a book that came to me. This guy gave it to me. He said, Jose, read this book. And when I see the book, I see the book and said, Man in the Search of a Meaning, Viktor Frankl. First time I heard that book. First time. Swear God, I have never heard about that book. I began to read that book and I said, oh God, this guy is talking to me. Literally, that guy was talking to me. Because he was saying that you can find purpose in the suffering. You can find purpose in the adversity. And you can find meaning. And that's what made the people survive in the concentration camps. If you talk with anybody that had survived the concentration camp, they will tell them that they find their purpose. So that's what we did. We really begin to find their purpose. And one of the things we begin to do is we begin to pray and read the Bible. And we went back to our beginning. I come from a Catholic country that I was not taking care of God. And I begin to revisit and rediscover the Bible. And that's where I begin to see that the Bible, the answers are there. All the answers are there. So
you made the joke with the Bible is still there.
Yeah. Because for me, thank you. I was a guy that I having really abandoned God. That was one of the things. I had abandoned God. And when I was here being the CEO of CITGO, we live in Cyprus. And I remember I was driving with my driver to Eldridge Park, where is the energy corridor, where was the office. So it was like a 30-minute commute. And there was a pine forest where we were going. And when I was heading through the Highway 6, there are a lot of churches there. And I remember that was like in August, a lot of Bible studies were in the churches. And I told my driver, why people waste their time doing Bible studies? You know, I stayed doing the next 4 years, every day, Bible study. We did do it in 3 hours every day. So God told me, you have to do Bible study, my friend. And the answers are there. All the answers really are there. So determination. Determination is that unwavering determination, the commitment that no matter what is going in your life, that is not gonna set what you're gonna be. So even any situation you're going, that's not gonna be what you're gonna be. You have to have that commitment. You have a goal and you have to pursue and go for it. If you have a dream, pursue it. And then I believe that the great people that have done great things in life is because they do it. They fail, they bounce back, they fail, they bounce back, and they go and go and go and never stop. So that is the determination. And that's what guided me. That was one of my principles. I was really determined that even when we were going in those dark days, that circumstance will not define me. That will not define me. I was really focused. And I can tell you, not only me, the 6 of us did the same. I remember that we were so focused on what we were doing in our plan, because we did a complete plan during the day to do things. Beginning from doing breakfast alone, the other people's in their bunk bed, you were in peace. Then we did exercise, we did yoga, we did a push-up, we did static running, we read, we write it, we play domino, we did a lot of things. We were sanitizing the room during the pandemic. We were like very sanitized, And at the end of the day, read the Bible and pray. So that took us the whole day, and the days begin to pass very fast. Very fast. We were like hamsters in a cage. I remember one day the director of the prison, because they saw us doing things, they thought we were crazy. And the guy came to our cell and said, "Hey guys, from what planet you come? Are you from Mars?" Because that guy was really surprised that we were so focused, because they couldn't break us. We didn't allow them to break us. We decided to be focused, and we began to get respect of these guys. At the end, these guys really were respecting us. I became Mr. Pereira. They called me Mr. Pereira. They began to respect me because they knew that we were doing things and they could not break us. And that's the determination. That is what determination is. Okay. So now go to the next one. So now comes that you have to be adaptive to the situation, and this is in your life. Things today in world, the things are changing. You can have things changing in a daily basis. You have a plan, and then something comes, and your plan is not fulfilled. We were really having a lot of ups and downs, because in our case, we were caught in the middle of the political situation between the U.S. and Venezuela. So if the things were going bad, for our situation was going bad. If the things were going good, we were good. So it was like this. One day we have books, and one day they came, return me all the books. They gave us a small TV. One day they came, give me the TV. We knew there were some issues going with the negotiation, because we have 5 years of negotiation. They begin to ask to get that sanction relief. They begin to ask to have lifted the oil ban. Oil ban. They begin to ask to be swapped by a big drug lord that was here in the U.S., Alex Saab. They wanted to trade us by that guy. At the end, the guy was traded by another guy. Because one of the big things with the hostage situation is that these countries that do that, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They begin to ask a lot. And it's something that is really difficult to swallow. And to put together, Republicans and Democrats. It's really a hard call. That's why sometimes that situation lasts so long. So now, adaptability, embracing the uncertainty. You don't know what's going on, but if you're going through any situation, move on, continue. That will foster your resilience, because if you are adapted, you become more strong, more resilient. You become more creative. We begin to do things that I cannot imagine. I put it in my book. We didn't have way to communicate among each other. You know what we did? We discovered that we could talk through the electrical outlet. That is like a conduit. So that is like a microphone. Mm-hmm. So we begin to talk through the outlets. So when the people went to the family visit, everybody came to the outlet, and there was a guy that took note, and he compiled a summary of the news, and we were very, very well informed of what's going outside. Mm-hmm. So when I began to receive a visit of the guy that was sending me the food, at some point he began to visit me. When he came the Saturdays, I was informed of everything that was going on outside, because we were communicating on a daily basis. We have a daily report. We had a daily report through the outlets. Well, that is a creativity. Wow. We discovered that we could do it.
Wow.
It's similar when you put the cup and you put the cup.
Same thing.
That
because what we did is that every cell that had an outlet, the people that had some news went to the outlet and said, "Oh, it's happening this," and somebody was taking note. And after they compiled all the news, they took like a summary, and then they read it to everybody. Wow. So everybody was informed what was going on. You know how we begin to know what time was? Because they did like a march every 6 a.m. in the morning. When we heard the trumpets of the march, okay, 6 a.m. And they did at 6 p.m. So we calculated the time. So we begin to have control of the time. in a wall, we begin to put the days, and now we were aware of how the day were passing. So this is thing we did in a really creative way, and create collaboration and networking. We really became friends of all these guys, because again, we were all in the same situation. When I began to receive this family visit, I knew the families of all these guys. A lot of political, military, high-ranking militaries, politicians, religious leaders, philosophers, whatever they were there, I began to meet their families. We began to network. They invited me to have that lunch with them. And today I'm connected. I call them, we're friends, you know. And here in the US with all the former hostages, I talk with them. We talk, we were a part of a community. And that creates you a continuous learning. You really begin to learn. You learn about this circumstance. And at the end, you become a leader. Because you begin to inspire people. We really begin to, the six of us became a beacon of reference in that place. Because they saw that the years were going and we were very focused. And one day, one of the guys came to us and said, "Hey, Jose, I really admire what you're doing. We see you, the way you're handling this. So you really begin to be a model to the people." So that's what makes you a leader, when you begin to be the visionary, the thinking, and you begin to be a communicator, because now you can communicate with the people in an empathic way, understand. Everybody begin to understand themselves. And this is something that you can do in your life and in your business. Some people are running business and lose that sense that the way they have to connect with their employee is being empathic, being human being, understanding them. And that's what a great leader does, doing this. Adaptability, as I said, adapting to the change. When you are a leader and the people see you as a model and you inspire the people, they will do things to support you. They will adapt to the change. They will give you even recommendations that maybe you were not thinking about that. And the integrity, we became integer. We were focused and we not let us be down. So these are things that really makes you be a leader. So all these things that I've been talking today here are things that maybe you can know it, maybe you can have heard it, maybe you apply it in your life. But I'm emphasizing that these are things that I really rediscovered during my years of captivity. That even though I was always doing leadership position, because I worked in many joint ventures, and I really had leadership position, but I never saw the things in the way today I look at. Because now I had it from the very particular way that I went to that situation, I discovered that inner force, and I got connected to God. I got connected to God. Today, my wife and me, we do church service. We have a church in Spring called Intimidad con Dios. It's a Spanish church. And I know that you have also the Spanish church here. I talked the other day with the pastor almost. Okay, but we do church service. We have a community of senior citizens called Golden Heart that we attend, and we're also part of a group called the Art of Giving that we attend to. So that for me is part of the lessons of all of this, that you need to connect to God. And at the end, the next one. No, the next one. Give me the next.
7.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because that is my final message. That when you got that connection, so now you have the faith, and then I begin to do that church service, and because I understood that for some reason of God put me under this situation. So that was part of His master plan. Everybody has a master plan. Everybody has something that God has, that is your purpose. And sometimes you go through situations in life that you don't understand why you're going. And sometimes you blame God. Why you're putting me in this? But what you don't know that is part of His master plan. And when you discover that, you say, okay, I understand. You made me do this because you wanted me to do that. So you're in point A and you have to go to point B. And he's gonna guide you, but you have to see it and you have to pursue it. So that made the profound discovery that everybody has that inner force. Everybody has that inner force. Even if you think that you don't have force to go to anything in life, when you go into it, you can do it. You have it because we are creatures of God. And the other thing is that will unlock that spirit in you because you have that potential. So that is my message to all the people today here, that anything in life, you can overcome it, always. And no matter what situation you're going through, you will always overcome it with the grace of God. Always with the grace of God. Ma'am, thank you for hearing. You can have some questions if you want.
Wonderful, thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Could you clarify when you first got together with the other gentleman that came in, and you were now 6 again instead of 1, and you said we came up with a plan. Could you clarify a little bit about what the plan was?
Yes, we called it the survivor plan. So what we did is we created a plan to do during the whole day. So for example, I'm gonna try to put it more graphic. We begin at 6 a.m. in the morning with a breakfast. Now we're receiving food from our family. So they provide us a small fridge. We have several small fridges. I had my own fridge, this small fridge, I could put my food there. So I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner during 2 or 3 days. So I took my breakfast. I was the first that took the breakfast because I'm an early bird. I went very early in the morning. The other guys were in the bed. Nobody was doing nothing. You were in the solace with yourself, eating. So we eat. I went to my bed, the other guys came, and we did it like that, everyone alone. After we finished, we rested like 1 hour, and then after that, exercise. One of my colleagues, he's a marathon runner. So he began to create a plan for exercises. So we did yoga, we did meditation, we did push-up, we did static running. We began to do a lot of exercise, and we begin to recover muscle because we have lost a lot of weight. So we begin to recover muscles. After we did that, like now we're like in the mid like noon. So we took a shower, not a shower because we didn't have running water. Was only with a bottle, like pouring So that was where we during years. My first shower I took was when I came back to San Antonio. Okay, but what's a shower? Okay, so we took the shower, and then we began to. Everybody had a schedule to the sanitizing of the room, because now we're in the pandemic. So our family was bringing, alcohol and a lot of things to sanitize the room, and we keep that room safe of germs and everything. When the food came, we had like a sanitizing place. We began to do a lot of things. So after we did this, we began to read. We have like a 2 or 3 hours, everybody alone reading the book. I read like 300 books. Okay, time to read. Then was time to write. I was writing on a daily basis. Time to write to the next round of letters that I'm gonna send to my wife. And then now we're like at 5, 6 p.m. We begin to play domino. We had a domino tournament. So we were, we did a tournament of domino. And we were playing domino like 3 hours. 9 p.m., read the Bible. An hour and a half Bible reading, Bible studies. You know that who is doing Bible studies? We were doing Bible studies. 1.5 hour daily basis. Reading the Old Testament, the New Testament, analyzing it. We begin to analyze a lot the Bible, and then pray. We were praying during more than 1 hour, and now we're like at 10, 11 p.m., and then we shut it out. We're gonna come back strong in body, soul, and spirit, and we went to bed. And we went to bed, and another day, the same thing, and we stayed doing that for 4 years.
And you were in the same room at that time?
We were like in a closet. It was a 100 square foot room without no windows, without no running water. So, but we were together. Yes, we were together, and we did all of this in that place. Yes.
Wow.
Mhm.
Did you find that you had any particular dreams when you did get to sleep, like anything that repeated itself as far as any kind of dreams?
I was dreaming my release. I was dreaming that the day I got released, I was going to begin to do what I'm doing today. So I was dreaming to write my book. By the way, I put the name From Hero to Villain in the prison. So in the secret code we had, my code was H2V. So when I called her H2V, we were talking about the book. So I put the name of the book in there. So yeah, I was having, but was positive dreams, never negative dreams.
Wow.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed the talk, and it seems like besides the idea of faith, it was community. You mentioned that these men all had long marriages and strong families, and it seems as if community is just as crucial as every other element that you talk about. And it's tapping into and finding your community. And to me, that's a catalyst for a beginning.
Correctly, yes, totally true. Let me tell you, it was so important that support of the family that at some point, because Mervis and the other 5 wives, they got together. They were working together. They were going to the press together. If you go to Google, you will find a lot of interviews. There were interviews all over. There was in CNN, Fox, CBS, NBC, all over there were interviews. And they were also visiting the White House. And by the way, one day Pence came here to Houston and they were invited to a meeting. And they were with a meeting in Florida with Trump also. And with this administration, they met with Blinken, Jack Sullivan, Biden. When we came, he personally was who called for a release. So both administrations, let's say, took care of trying to get us back. But the important was the family. Because we were surprised what our kids were doing. My eldest kid, stayed 4 years in Colombia. He quit his job, he moved to Colombia, and he stayed 4 years supporting me. If he didn't do it, I will not survive. And I came back in October, and my son came back to the US in January because he had to take care of a school of his kids or whatever. And he stayed like 3 more months, and January after he came. By the way, I posted that photo when he came in Twitter. It became 1 million views of that photo the day he came. It became really viral. But those kids, my kids, the kids of the other 5 guys, they did something wonderful. They created the Bring Our Family Home campaign. The Today Bring Our Family Home campaign was created by them. One of the daughter of one of my colleagues, Alexandra, she put together with Carlos, one of the son of the guy, my son that was in Colombia also, because what the U.S. government asked was to have a focal point, and the focal point were our kids. So who were taking care of our cases were our kids. And they created this campaign that today exists. The thing that's going in the Middle East, that campaign is supporting them. Because the Bring Our Family Home campaign today is part of the James Foley's Legacy Foundation, one of the biggest foundations here in the US. Because today I'm connected to those foundations too. I support the James Foley Legacy Foundation. I support the Hosted US Foundation. I support the Hosted Aid Worldwide Foundation. There's one called the America Curie Foundation. So there are several foundations that give you mental, physical, and logistic support. Because as I said, when you come back, you're coming like in a time machine. For me, making a driver license, something so simple like that was difficult.
Yeah.
Difficult, because you were lost in translation. So a lot of things, you have to recover your life.
This might sound like Debbie Downer, but I have this fear that there's going to be more of that, because in the United States, we are about our families and our feelings. And then say Russia, they're wanting their criminals really bad, so we're leveraged.
Yeah.
And it does occur to me, there's going to be more of it, not less.
It is something that is a really difficult call. Yeah, and you're totally right there. You never know what these guys can do, because unfortunately they find what they want. They find what they want, but the truth of the matter is that the people have to come back. You know, they're Americans. They stay years there. It's a difficult call.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
very
I think we need to have Jose back again, right? Part two, part
It's a
three?
very difficult call.
No, I was just gonna say, as I heard you talk this morning, Jose, you were a very accomplished individual before you went into the situation you were in. But it reminded me much like someone who has a near-death experience. Because they come out of that a different person. And it's obvious to me